Hello, everyone. The topic that my group and I chose is the ideal workplace, climate, and culture. These are the topics we are going to cover, including what we mean by workplace climate and culture and its importance, negative climate, positive climate, and at the end, we are going to discuss some recommendations to implement a positive climate in your workplace. First, what we mean by climate and culture and what is important to a company. Here are two quotations that provide excellent definitions for both concepts. The term organizational climate refers to the physical and non-physical aspects of the workplace that influence employee behavior in some way. Such environments give the worker a sense of safety so they can carry out their jobs with effectiveness, which will have security and suitable conditions. On the other side, workplace culture develops. Organizations must also take care to establish or preserve their organizational culture, as this influences the climate within the organization. As a result, it is crucial since both define how the organization and its members behave at all levels and are linked. The history, trajectory, and goals of the organizations are typically reflected in it. Why are they important? Because they show how a company's members engage with the elements that make up that organization. Organizational climate and culture are essential. They have a significant impact on satisfaction and level of motivation, among other things, which are translated from this statement. Knowing the climate of an organization allows you to see the amount of information present in each process you carry out and constantly to promote all necessary changes to raise the effectiveness of the business. Next, I'm going to leave you with my partner who is going to explain the negative workplace culture.
Now that you gained a little bit of overview on workplace climate and culture as a whole, I wanted to give you a little tour down what negative workplace culture is. Through this PowerPoint, I will show you what a negative culture is, what it looks like, the outcomes of a culture, and examples of negative cultures with stereotypes surrounding it. First off, what is negative workplace culture? Negative workplace culture are work environments that can be simplified to the following characteristics: toxic, discriminatory, neglected, and micromanaged. Examples of negative workplace culture, starting off with discriminatory, a quote from an article reads, despite an increasing tolerance for diversity among Americans, workplace discrimination is still on the rise. Basically saying, even though as Americans we're learning, okay, this is wrong, discrimination between me and another group of people is wrong, it still festers in workplaces. I put that quote there to just say discrimination is fading away, but it'll never go away completely. And it's up to us in the workplace to nip it in the bud as soon as we start to see signs of it. No matter how small the sign is or how big it is, if you start to see it, say something. Next will be a quote stating something about micromanagement, which is basically saying the control of an enterprise in every particular and to the smallest detail. I put that quote there to just emphasize the point that you're not really able to think for yourself. And if you're not able to think for yourself and somebody's thinking for you, and say that somebody ends up leaving and now you have to deal with it by yourself, you won't be able to deal with it as best as you would if you were able to deal with it by yourself all those years. Well, toxic example would be organizational toxicity has a negative impact on labor productivity and the employee's psychological well-being. Basically saying, in a toxic workplace, you will have a negative impact on your productivity and your well-being. If you have a negative impact on your well-being, it'll show in your productivity. Lastly, will be stressful. Uh, stress in the workplace. Stress in the workplace is a growing concern in the current state of the economy. Basically saying stress in the workplace is common. It's growing, actually. So when you encounter stress, it's not a bad thing, but once it gets to the point where you're burning yourself out, that is when it starts to become a problem. Lastly, I want to talk about some outcomes of negative culture. An outcome of discriminatory culture is not handling discrimination when opportunities arise, allows for conflict in the company itself, And this could be considered lawsuits and internal conflict. You can get lawsuits from discrimination all the time, anytime. So if you see it in the company, say something so it doesn't get to that point where somebody is suing your employee or an employee is suing your employee because they said a discriminatory remark to them or they performed a discriminatory action towards them. And just to reiterate that, if you don't nip it in the bud when you see it, it could cause internal conflict if nobody wants to speak up about it. And that internal conflict could lead to something bigger and bigger up into the collapse of the company. An outcome of negative culture would be micromanagement. Micromanagement can destroy the development of current employees and decrease the talent, causing the fall of their company. Same thing. If somebody is controlling the aspect of your job every time you do something, and they end up leaving, and you don't know how to do something, but people rely on you because you've done it in the past, that could cause, on a bigger scale, the fall of the company because you don't know how to do a job because your manager was always telling you what to do or how to do something. An outcome of toxic workplace culture is the increasing negative impact on employee productivity and well-being. Self-explanatory. In toxic workplace cultures, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, you will see a decrease in your productivity and well-being, and it will translate into your work. And lastly, the outcome of stressful negative culture is employees face a detrimental decrease in health and well-being, and the company faces a decrease in efficiency and profit. Same thing with toxic workplace culture. If you don't know how to take care of yourself, you don't know how to take care of yourself when times get stressful, it'll start to affect your well-being and your health, which causes a decrease in profit and efficiency for the company because if you can't perform your job, then the company isn't able to produce as well as they would like to, which makes them lose out on profit. Those are just some examples, outcomes, and overall view of what negative culture is.
People from a very young age are taught and encouraged to think in the box, which in turn confines us to a certain way of thinking. So, what do we do to break out of the box? Kingeni suggests that we step out of the norm and start thinking out of the box. Provide employees with training that will allow them to use that creativity they possess and work through daily problems to try to find a solution. Foster teamwork that encourages innovative approaches. For example, giving employees a sense of belonging, empowering them and let them know that their work matters. The group will be more than willing to tell you what ideas work best and how to build from there. You will be surprised to hear them speak with a sense of ownership. These employees work day in and day out and know the job better than anyone else. As the employee begins to feel more comfortable in their surroundings and a sense of trust is beginning to be established, one will notice a sense of true transparency in them, and they're more willing to perform at their highest capacity. A survey was conducted of 40,000 employees, and these three things ranked the top three. Full appreciation of work being done, feeling in on things, sympathetic help with personal matters. Kingeni said that there is a great need for the development of a climate that satisfied the need to be significant, the need to be important, and the need to be somebody. With that said, we recommend the following: a healthy climate so that people are happy and they feel good about being there, and which in turn will promote growth. Select the right people for the job, those people that are willing to be open and embrace new ideas on a regular basis. Find supportive leadership. When issues arise, people will feel comfortable when they talk to them. Foster a freedom of thought. No idea is too small because it all matters.
What now? What are some things that can be done to improve the standard of workplace culture with the information that we've collected throughout this presentation? Here are some ways to improve the climate of your workplace. Transparency. It is extremely important that communication is honest and clear so that trust in the organization is built. Autonomy. Employees can be empowered by avoiding micromanagement and allowing the employees to have some choice and to be proactive at work. Feedback. It's crucial that employees are provided with feedback so that they can improve their performance and that they receive recognition when they perform well. Relationships. Team building activities can be organized, and it is important that healthy dynamics amongst the employees are maintained. Flexibility. Be mindful of employees' obligations and of their health. Schedule things in a flexible manner. And values. Establishing the mission and the principles of the organization is very important. These things need to be clearly delineated, and the actions of employees and superiors and everyone within the organization should be in line with these principles. Thank you for watching our presentation on the ideal workplace climate and culture. Here are the works cited for this presentation.